Hello, and welcome to Escaping Dystopia. Today is October 10th, 2019. Full on Batshit! We're speaking to you from the sketch of the future. Or perhaps it's the present. I've been on vacation. Over the last few months, some factual things have happened. The Spaceship Earth, we have a new pilot. It is apparently a 15-year-old girl. Her name is Greta. She seems very nice. We will let her do this. The President of the United States is beginning to be impeached by the Congress of the United States. This is making him very, very, very unhappy. He continues to melt down on the Twitter. He sends many, many tweets to many, many people. It is very disturbing for the country. It is clear now also there is something very corrupt going on in the Ukraine, or as they call it, Ukraine. The Rick Perry, Energy Secretary, has been asked to say what he'd been doing. So we will find out what he'd been doing. The President, over the last month, has exhibited a deteriorated mental state and does not appear to be functioning as a normal human would function. In the Kurdish Situation, over the last few days, the President released a statement late Sunday night saying that, hey, we are pulling our 50 guys out of the way, you may do what you wish. Many people understood this to mean it was okay now for Turkey to take over northern Syria and destroy the Kurdish people and their land and their culture and their history. There was a man arrested. He was wanted to bomb major media places to destroy people who said bad things about Trump. There's a guy, he pulled out his gun because he was driving next to a person who had a bumper sticker that was different than the Trump bumper sticker that he had. This is a problem. We will talk about this more later. It's a very bad problem. Sorry. That is opinion, not fact. Whatever happened to Barr's investigation into what happened to Epstein? Nobody knows. I don't know. There's a spy outed by the Kremlin. Here's what happened in facts. Story comes out, Washington Post says, big spy outed because they're scared Trump will say, hey, we have big spy, ha ha ha, there he is. So they say, you big spy, you come home. A few years ago, spy goes Europe, spy disappears. Kremlin goes, where's spy? Where's Sergey? I don't know, his name's Sergey. Could be Vigo or Sergey. Maybe Vlad something. Or there's probably a K in it. Anyway, Sergey disappeared. Russians read media, newspapers, say, hey, remember guy who disappeared we never find? So, Russia say, hey everyone in world, do you ever see Sergey? Now everybody like, what going on? Very strange. We'll talk more later. Saudi Arabia, they have many refinery for oil. Drones go. They go, ah! Trump go, what do you want me to do? Nothing really happened. We'll talk more about that later. Bernie go, ah! Ah! They put little things and it's dark. And they go, boom, 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 boom. Go, ah! Bernie go back on campaign. The Singularity is here. That means this computer is smarter than me and you. And the network basically runs things. The tax inversion is here. In the United States, if you make the most money, you pay the lowest taxes. That's it. That's what it is now. All right, let's just talk. Sorry. Righty! Let me see. Let's get rid of this thing. Hey, what's going on, Chris? Good for you to drop by. Anyway, this is my basement, everybody. So, it's been a few weeks. My voice is what my voice is, so we're just going to have to deal with that, all right? Oh, wait. You can see the back of the... I got a teleprompter. Isn't that cool? Like, not even fucking around now. It's like 1970s technology. Let me hit this button, and I think I can see if people say things. Boop. There we go. All right. See? Totally awesome, incredible technology. This is probably too high by about 3 feet, huh? I don't even know if I want to try and change things. Boom. All right, we're back. So, a couple of vacations for yours truly. I went up to the mountains with my wife's family. That was wonderful. Very nice to see the leaves change color as they do every year. Then went down to San Antonio for a reunion for my university that I eventually graduated from. I took what they call a victory lap. So my class isn't really my class. It's all the people who were younger than me. But then I was like, oh, I guess we're graduating together. Hey, guys, see you in 20 years. Except not really. So I just went back, and that was a lot of fun. We might talk about that at some point. Man, and there's too much stuff to talk about. When I do these like month-long hiatuses, it's there's too much stuff because there are some other really interesting philosophical things I want to talk about, especially from the Anthropocene, right, perspective, just as humans have kind of taken over the planet and taken over our own future. I posted this other thing the other day. I think I posted, I don't know, I might have just shared it. Yeah, climate change. So, I didn't say. The leaves were changing up in Colorado, and then I go down to San Antonio, and it's October. It was October 5th, and it was 96 fucking degrees. And I got so sunburned, and it was so hot. And I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Do you realize that climate change is real? Like, well, we work in oil and gas, so I don't think we like you. And I was like, but real things are real. Oil and gas. But you seem like a nice guy. All right, whatever. I didn't actually have that conversation. It was a unsaid, made-up conversation that I imagined later. But a surprising number of my peers have done very well in those industries. Not surprising. It's South Texas. What do you expect? But it's real. It is real. So Greta. Spaceship Earth update, right? So we're going to get this next generation of kids, and they're going to be like, what the fuck, guys? And that's what we've seen over the last few weeks. She basically took a ship here, which you can do. And then gave her speech, and she's doing good work. I like this. It's good to keep talking about it. Hopefully we can get some good stuff here. The big change always was the political leadership that needed to believe in the science and then start to act on it. And I think we're getting a lot closer to having that consensus. There is this whole generation of those people, but they're going to be gone soon. But it's real. It's real, Chris. I know. It's odd now because, I got to see this. Like, I just got to go and fast forward 20 years to the same place at a time of year that I'm really pretty familiar with. And, I mean, I remember October in San Antonio, and it wasn't 96 degrees. And I checked this, and that's not what the average is. It's well outside the average. So, climate change is real. It's here. Speaking of things that are real and here, so is impeachment of Donald. So a lot of people wanted to do this from day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8. Every time he said some bullshit lie, every time he did. Because, again, you have to remember, back before this, we actually impeached the president for just telling a lie. I mean, that's essentially what Clinton was impeached for, was telling a lie. And you see some of these old clips of Republicans during that whole impeachment hearing. They're like, well, he just dishonored the presidency, and we feel that you got to restore the honor of the office. And those same people are now like, nice boot, Donald. What's on that boot, Donald? I like to lick your boots, Donald. I don't know what's on them. But I know my wife's been making lots of deals here in Kentucky. That was Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump bootlicker Lindsey Graham. They've been particularly ridiculous after this last little bit. There was actually a story in one of the big newspapers about Mitch's wife, who, by the way, because it's a family affair here with the Trump administration, she is the Secretary of Transportation, and roughly 25% of the meetings that she has taken as the Secretary of Transportation for the United States have been with companies in Kentucky, where her husband is a senator. So, excuse me. And my voice, again, I lost my voice because I was down on the sideline, so I got to yell, and then I got maybe a cold or something, I don't know. There's a lot of people that I interacted with over the last couple weeks. A lot of germs. So has the impeachment begun or not, right? So there's some kind of, the president and the White House are kind of saying, well, until you guys hold like an official impeachment vote, and Nancy's like, nah, we don't have to do that until we want to do that. Here's what we're going to do. You guys can give us some documents. And the White House is like, well, we don't have to because you guys haven't taken a vote. Now, this is a big mistake on the White House's part. One of the, as I posted a little video about this, and Lindsey Graham noted this back in 1998 when they were talking about Clinton. The White House refusing to turn over documents for a subpoena was actually one of the articles of impeachment against Nixon. So trying to hide stuff at this point is not really the scenario that you want to go with. The whole idea was to avoid the idea that there was this huge dereliction of duty. And now that we've seen this rough transcript, and we know it's a little rougher transcript now of this call because of the way they tried to sell it as overt. It's word for word verbatim. It's like it says right here on it. It's not word for word. So we haven't actually seen the full call that really kicked this off, but it's real. And so I do think Nancy is doing a little bit of setup and playing this very well. Because there's been people calling for Trump's impeachment for, like I said, for years. But this is something you don't get to do like 4 or 5 times. You don't get to, we're impeaching for this, and then 3 months later, he did that too, and they had to find, something had to happen that was nice and concise, easy enough argument to make it very clear that the way he's been conducting himself in office is outside of the bounds of what our type of government and our rule of law requires. Right, and that's where impeachment comes in. And the thing is, people have always, thrown it out there like it's a little thing, and I think there's some generation feeling to that because people who saw it happen before, as I did, right, maybe have a little bit lower bar for what, it entails to get somebody impeached because that was such a partisan affair ultimately. And that's what Republicans are trying to paint this as. And so without a very simple, concise, clear act that really kicks it off, you couldn't go this far. And we got that. We got that with the Ukraine situation. It was very clear that they tried, they withheld, promised, voted for, passed, ready to go military aid for an ally fighting a war against an adversary. That money was held up because they wanted political favors. He literally uses the word favor in the call. So I think Nancy's played this very well, and I'm fully, for those who would like to see impeachment be successful in the House, sit back and watch Nancy work. Because unless you're going to talk to her, you're not going to influence her decisions really here. And I think she's got a pretty good handle on how this works. And you only, like I said, you only get to do this once. You can't do it a bunch of times. And so we know roughly, right, how the Senate's going to vote, or would generally vote at this moment, which is the Republicans would clear him, right? They are essentially the jury of this trial, which is what's happening now. There's only one body that can hold the President of the United States accountable according to the Constitution, and that's Congress. And this is how it happens. really kind of under our rule of law and under official Department of Justice guidelines, the president can't really do crimes and stuff. The president and his administration are currently arguing in various courts that his accomplices in other crimes also get that same immunity. And I'm not even joking. That's what's going on in New York in the DA's office with Giuliani and Cohen and some of the other stuff with the hush money that he paid to the porn star before the last election to keep that story from coming out. Oh, man, if I could tell you this, if this was real, it would be real. And I'd be like, this is insane. I don't believe you if it wasn't real. And that's why, oh, man, there's this great story on NPR, and I need to share it. I haven't yet. I think it's called Mindfucked, something like that. But it explains how social media was used to get a lot of people who aren't voters, per se, into the political process. You may be aware of this whole thing, the whole Russian campaign. There's a really good Cambridge Analytica on all this. It is a wonderful, wonderful just guide to what happened and to how these people are using this. And as someone like my degree, someone, oh, there it is up there, from that school I just went to visit was in mass communication. One of the things that I studied was over the time in history how new media systems and new media technology have always given the right and had these political revolutions and these new political changes and different ways for people to express themselves. And social media is no different. And it is that powerful. And it was able to use that and engage those people in such a targeted manner. It's really, really a pretty cool story. Anyway, moving on to some of the Ukrainian corruption. Yeah, this is pretty wild. Just what's been coming out day after day after day. If you're, big into the new stuff, you can go watch. I'm sure Matt is doing great work on it. But Donald, Barr, Pompeo, all getting involved, all doing this kind of pressure, all making it clear that we need you to do this, and then we'll do that. And now you have this added aspect and this added dimension of Rick Perry, excuse me, and quote-unquote opening up the sector for U.S. interests in Western companies and trying to get people on board and doing this. There's just a lot of money going on. And that's where just this corruption is just so nasty. So on Giuliani, there's one thing that I wrote about this over this last month, and it's not even clear right now that Giuliani has a security clearance. And he's been asked somehow by someone at some point to go and negotiate on behalf of the United States to do what? To shake down these various countries. Two of his associates were arrested today, I think it was yesterday, trying to flee the country because of what's going on and their investigations going on. You got Rick Perry doing that. You got Giuliani's going, these other associates. You have another aide that's going to, I was just reading about this right now. There's another aide who is one of the top Russian analyst, I think, on the National Security Council, who's now also ready to come out and talk about this stuff. So this leads all to the president's mental state, which is not good. And not good at all. There's pretty much daily meltdowns now on Twitter, right? He's doing, you can't even, I could do hours. People do hours. There's entire cable networks dedicated to his Twitter meltdowns now. Went after Romney, Nancy, the Dems, Fox, anybody and everybody that he think might be betraying him. And there was actually a picture that showed that he might be have a lot of Sudafed in his system when he's getting really going. And one of the side effects of that is paranoia. And there's a couple other things that I'm really curious to see what his narcotic load was after this is all said and done. There's going to be some really interesting information if we make it through without him needing a bigger distraction. He has meltdown at some of the press conferences this last month. Just been blown away insane. You look at him and you're like, that guy is not healthy. This is not good. And that's where we are. And that's why I'm, kind of right. I want to do these videos to talk about this because I know some people don't watch the news. I don't watch that much news. I read everything. So these act for me as a little bit of a bookmark. And hopefully, in a few years, I'll be like, oh yeah, that was fucking crazy. It's so good that things are normal now. But I, in my great and unmatched wisdom, think that there might be a resignation this month. I'm going to go ahead and throw out a little bit of a, I think that might be, we might see it. We'll see. Things are getting kind of crazy as I move on to the next thing. And this is causing a lot of people a lot of consternation. And the thing that's keeping him in office now with this probe going, if you get 15 Republicans or 18 Republican senators coming out saying that they support the impeachment probe, he's going to quit. Medical doctor saying that based on his mental state and nasal sniffing, he's probably on cocaine. Yeah, I that's what I see. There's something going on. I mean, and if you start to listen for it and notice it, and I've seen like the pupil analysis and a few other things. And there was that picture I posted a little while back of his drawer. If you look and go back on the taco bowl, if you remember when he did the whole, I love tacos, here's a taco bowl, and blah, blah, blah. Behind him, his drawer was open. There's a bunch of, and I read the story on it. It was UK stamped Sudafed. He's got tons of it. So he's got something going on. I mean, it's just something. So the Kurdish situation. So the Kurds are an ethnicity that has never had their own country. They've always been sandwiched in between Turkey and Syria and Iraq. And over the last 100 years, they keep trying to fight and help out. They keep dying, fighting, and helping us, and helping other people, and then we screw them, and it just happened again. And it's going on right now. And for what's been going on over the last few years militarily, man, we've done a lot of, I mean, there have been seriously massive bombings with huge civilian casualties that don't make the news because of a tweet. And this has happened 20, 30, 40 times over the last 3-4 years. The number of people that he's allowed to be, the death toll has gone up a lot all around the world, and I don't know if this is going to even make it, because Turkey's going to try and not kill millions of people. And actually, I don't believe there are actually millions of Kurds. I think that might be all of them. But they are going to do this, and they're pushing in. So they helped us fight and do a lot of this against the caliphate, right? And that was kind of the way we do a lot of air support and not risk lives, because that causes problems on our news. But to actually take territory, you have to have people on the ground. And because this is a lot of the places that some of them live, that's who did a lot of the fighting and dying. And then to turn around, and there's been a long, long, long history between Turkey and the Kurdish people and their differences. And some of the people that we stood along with, people think are terrorists. Some of the people that, or actually most of them, I think all of them, Turkey considers that, although we didn't for a while. Anyway, but you can read other stuff on that, but the betrayal here is clear, and it's very concise, and it was very abrupt. He talked about it a little bit before. This is, I think, paying off Putin a little bit, because this is what he wants. This is just, again, he's got territories in there, so I don't know, or his deals in the area. Apparently, Ivanka deleted her tweet about thanking the president of Turkey, who is a, again, not an autocratic dictator that president likes. Anyway, yeah, so the violence from the alt-right and the Trumpers is going to continue and get worse, as long as he's there. That's why I want to see a resignation soon. Another year of this will get really, really, really bad. And one of the things that's really difficult when all that's going on is having any kind of clear or concise or complete discussion about large and important parts of the news. As people, because I think a lot of the chaos and a lot of the changes over the last few years, I think a lot of people still haven't quite processed, because it's been difficult to stick with it, especially as these things come out and come out and come out. In the next few weeks, you could have the Supreme Court come out and say that it's fine to fire gay people. I mean, that's where we are right now as a country. Yeah, what did happen to Barr's investigation? What happened to Epstein? We are not going to know that. There's going to be books and theories. This might be a whole new JFK assassination thing. But I'd like to know how that happened. And again, what the fuck? So I talked earlier in the first time through on the spy of the Kremlin. that was wild, man, because they come out and there's this news story saying, hey, you know, it turns out that we pulled out one of our best assets from Russia, and it's like a guy who'd been basically like, I don't know, probably one of his secretaries, somebody, you know, one of those people around him for years, decades, I guess, had been a U.S. asset, and then they pulled him back and brought him home, or in witness protection, I guess. I don't know if he's out. I don't know. I haven't followed this all the way through on the story side. And then, you know, a couple days later, it might have been a week or so, Russia does, and they go out and they're like, hey, has anybody seen this guy? We're looking for him. We're missing him. He disappeared in Europe a couple years ago. It's crazy, man, what's been going on. And then the president's like, yeah, we got to get rid of our spies. We don't like doing that. So the drone strike in Saudi Arabia, the refinery, all that, following up. So when I saw that, I remember the first thing I remember thinking was what happened a couple weeks before that was when that Iranian satellite rocket blew up on the launch pad. And remember, the president tweeted sarcastically, going, ha ha ha, good job, nobody knows who did it, too bad, buddy, we didn't do it. So basically it was us, Israel, or Saudi Arabia. My guess is Iran figured out it was Saudi Arabia and gave somebody some drones to press the button and be like, they are pre-programmed. Go do it. Oh shit, my phone's about to die. All right. We'll go back to that. The anti-Israel bias investigation at the Department of Education. This is really pretty disturbing for me because that was one of the whole parts of the BDS movement, was that it was a compromise, a nonviolent solution to what was a violent problem, which is the occupation. And so now saying anybody who does this is now actually terrorists or bad is bad. I'm going to talk about Bernie and the Singularity later, because I don't want to lose the whole episode when my phone just dies, so I'm going to go plug it in. So we'll call that an episode. Thanks for dropping by, Chris. Appreciate it. Anybody else who drops by later, if you have any questions, just throw them here, and I'll address them in text or next time around. Peace out, y'all. Thanks for dropping by, and have a good one. Good night.